And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Stacks Latz. Joined as always with my man, Aaron Kidd on Fridays. And we got a special guest, another special guest, 2 weeks in a row, Tanner McGrath. Follow him at Twitter, at Tanner's Truth on Twitter. He's from Action Network, which I sign up $99 a year for. Tanner, so I'm paying some of your salary, okay? So it's a pleasure to have you on, man. We've talked on Twitter, gone back and forth and stuff, and you're a solid baseball guy. You and I, and even AK, we can all share a lot of bad beats we've had this year, man. But it's a pleasure to have you on, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great if it wasn't such a terrible month of May from every single one of our bets losing, but June is good. I'm doing well, and I'm just really happy to be on with you guys, and I appreciate the sub to the Action Network app. Everyone out there listening, subscribe to the Action Network app. It's worth the money, I swear to God.
Yeah, I will say, as far as if you bet daily or if you are serious about being a winning bettor, it's good tracking bets because you can literally see what you're good at, what you're bad at, and kind of evaluate what you're doing, right? I know there's free apps out there like BetStamp and stuff like that, but Action Network does give you a lot of extracurricular or whatever you want to call it. But I've subscribed to it for 2 years. I'm happy with the product. Although, Tanner, I do want you to relay something to your people. Number one, Action Network, they need to add a function of listing pitchers. Have to be able to list pitchers on there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
a lot of bets.
Yeah, we're always taking suggestions. I get hounded on Twitter every day. People just
I know you're not an engineer, but
we're always updating. Just make sure you download the next update of the app as soon as you can. We're always adding new stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, send those critiques my way. Absolutely.
Also, we need more options on there. There's no college baseball. I can't track my college baseball bets. I can't even track my golf bets accurately because it literally only allows you to track a half unit bet. So if I make a golf outright, I'm not putting a half a unit on a golf outright. I'm putting 0.1, 0.2. So there's some things that makes it a little difficult, but nonetheless, great app for tracking your bets. One thing, we had Adam Trigger on last week from Wager Talk, and we kind of asked him, and I want to ask you the same thing, and that is, give people that are new to the baseball market kind of your best advice throughout the baseball season, because we understand there's a lot of ebbs and flows, right? How do you handle those ebbs and flows as a baseball handicapper?
Man, it's the same in every sport. You never get too high, never get too low, and embrace the grind. Every night I go through the entire slate, and I do the same process that I do for every game and every sport. And I just don't deviate from it, and just understand that some nights you're going to go 8-0 and some nights you're going to go 0-8. And the only thing you can hope is that at the end of a 162 game season, you're up. And some people don't have the fortitude to bet baseball. I mean, I have a buddy, one of my close friends at the Action Network who only does college football, say that he can't fathom betting on a sport where the worst team in the league wins 60 games per year. That's what we have to understand here. is that sometimes you're going to have to bet on the worst team. Sometimes you're going to have to expect to lose, and just trust your reads. Don't get too mad about the results because there's always another day for the next 6 months. That's the best advice I can give.
Great points. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to Action Network, Tanner.
Boy, my journey is a long one. I was a economics and English double major at McGill University in Montreal. I was the editor of our finance and economics section of our student newspaper. Went to journalism school at the University of British Columbia. I dropped out, but at my time there, I covered the football team. I covered Canadian collegiate football. From there, I got 2 freelance jobs. One was at a site called Capper's Picks. It was just, your typical clickbaity pick site, best bet every day. The other one was I scouted Canadian high school football products for
Oh, wow.
kids from like BC who were going to go play Canadian football at like Queen's University. And from there, I just parlayed those 2 jobs into the next one. And I started working at the Action Network in late 2021, starting with college basketball mostly, and then baseball in the summertime. I've been doing this now for 3-4 years. Worked for other publications along the way, Forbes, Katina Media, so on and so forth. And I'm just happy I get to work for what I think is one of the best companies in the industry. I think I work alongside some of the best people, and just grateful to be here.
Hell yeah, man. Love that. Absolutely love that. All right, so let's hop into some baseball tomorrow. So first game, if you're new to the show, we always go around the table. We kind of talk about a game or multiple games and kind of just bounce ideas off of each other. If you tuned in last week, we had Trigger on, and we actually talked Trigger into a bet that he gave to his clients the very next day. So that's how this all comes about. It could go from something that you have literally no opinion on, and we find the best bet, or it could be something you're just like, yeah, man, like, I don't like anything in this game. I just absolutely want nothing to do with it. So first game we're going to talk about is the Blue Jays versus the Mets. That game just wrapped up because it had a 2-hour rain delay. It ended 1-0, right?
No, it ended 3-0. Varsho hits a home run at the end of it.
Oh, wow.
2-run shot.
So it must have just happened. Because it was 1-0 like right before we came on. Okay. So Blue Jays win 3-0. And tomorrow we have Berrios against McGill. Berrios comes in with a 3.86 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, going against Tyler McGill, who has a 5-3 record, 4.67 ERA, 1.59 WHIP. Right now I'm seeing this basically a pick 'em everywhere, most books, and the total's at 9. What do we think about this game, fellas? Quick initial thoughts here.
I just want to say that Jose Berrios in the Action Network realm is like the most controversial topic in the world. The guy has like obnoxiously bad expected statistics, like his batted ball profile is super sketchy, but he's also striking out 25% of batters. He's on pace for the highest ground ball rate of his career. He has a low 2s ERA since May 1st. You either love him or you hate him. Aaron, what do you think? You love him or you hate him?
What I'm torn on Berrios. If you look at his splits, man, he's definitely a lot better at home. So he struggles a little bit more on the road, which that's well known. We all know that. But more so when you look at these teams, man, you look at 2 teams that have very similar records, but kind of feels like they're going in 2 different directions. Vlad's been struggling to hit the ball a little bit lately. I think he's hit 1 home run now in the last 24 games that he's played in. Bo Bichette, man, he's leads the majors. I think 82 hits now. He's playing great. But they struggle on the road, as I said, not just Berrios, but the Blue Jays at home, 15-17 on the road. But the biggest thing is, me and Jordan talk about all the time, the Blue Jays since last year have struggled to hit the ball with runners in scoring position. And it's so frustrating when you watch this team. That's why I've kind of cooled on them a little bit. I haven't been backing them a lot. On the other side, though, the Mets swept the Phillies, and here we go. We think they've got it right. You go back and look at those games against the Rockies. I was actually on the Rockies +1 in one of those games. I think it ended 11-10. But hey, the Mets had to figure it out at some point. That lineup's very good, and man, kudos to Pete Alonso. He is just having a year. He's just crushing the ball. 7 home runs in his last 15 games. So, I haven't been in a rush to fade the Blue Jays in the last few weeks, but I haven't really been in a rush to back them either. So,
Tanner, what do you think?
I have a few thoughts. First is that you mentioned Bichette. Bo Bichette is obnoxiously good. I think he might be like a top 5 hitter in baseball. I mean, he's on pace to lead the league in hits for the 3rd straight season. Yet he swings out of his shoes every single time. I mean, every single at bat, it looks like he's like Joey Gallo out there. Yet he hits for average. He has an over 200 ISO this year. Obnoxiously good. Like, I cannot believe what he's doing year in, year out. And how old is he? Like 20, 26, 27 maybe?
25.
25. This guy, it blows my mind on a daily basis watching him play baseball. And he's pretty
And actually just turned 25. So,
yeah. Here's my second thought. I like the Blue Jays in this game for 2 reasons. One, you can buy into the Berrios, the half part of the Berrios where people like him, like you can buy into the last few starts where he's been good. You can buy into the ground ball rate and the ERA. I think Tyler McGill is starting for the Mets in this game. Am I right?
Yep.
That guy. All right. So 92 pitchers have thrown at least 50 innings this year. McGill ranks 91st in pitching plus Fangraph's pitching model. 91st. And the Mets bullpen has been shaky over the last month. I mean, I think they're like bottom 10 reliever expected FIP. I don't like that unit without Edwin Diaz, and Showalter just like looks confused sometimes making bullpen decisions. So I always give the offensive advantage in any game to the Blue Jays just because they hit the ball so hard and they have so many good players up at the top of that lineup. So I think that between McGill, the lineup, and the bullpen, I think I'm going to find myself in the Jays in this spot. I don't know what you guys think.
yeah. So the game that I was referring to about a week ago when I was on the Rockies plus 1.5, McGill was pitching for the Mets. That was his last start. He goes 4 innings, gives up 10 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, walks a couple guys, and just has a terrible game. So definitely not in a rush to back him at all. He didn't make it through 4 innings against the Cubs in his previous start as well. So not in a rush to back him.
Terrible.
Yeah, I think on top of that, the Blue Jays bullpen's a little sketchy too, especially on the road. You can't really trust Romano. However, with that being said, Berrios is definitely the better pitcher here. He's been nice. Even his xFIP is not terrible. Like, he has a 3.89 xFIP, a 3.86 ERA, so he's pitching to his expected numbers. A 4 Sierra, so he's not completely off of his expected ERA, right? Getting a ton of ground balls, as you said. Tyler McGill, on the other hand, I mean, the guy's got a 4.67 ERA with a 5.1 xFIP. So, I mean, as bad as this guy's been, we're expecting more regression coming here at some point. And the Mets, I talked about this on our NL East preview show. I was like, man, the Mets led the league in infield singles last year. Like, they had just had remarkable luck with balls just bouncing their way. And this year with the shift, you're kind of seeing that regression come back to the means, dude. And I'm not high on the Mets, dude. I don't think they're a very good team. Cohen can spend as much money as he wants. This team's just not very good. The Marlins are a better team than the Mets if we're keeping it a hunt.
I have some thoughts on the Mets actually. I'm big time against the Mets right now. I think there's a lot of value in them to miss the playoffs.
Yes.
Couple of reasons. First, next 5 to 6 weeks, toughest schedule in baseball. I think it's something like 7 of their next 13 series are against current playoff teams. Second, their rotation is held together by a Band-Aid. If either Verlander or Scherzer goes down, you're relying on Kodai Senga.
But even both those guys haven't been good, Trevor.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're relying on Kodai Senga, who's walking way too many guys. And you got Tyler McGill, and then you got who's the other guy in the back end of that rotation?
Carrasco.
Yeah, Carlos Carrasco. complete gas can. Guy has not thrown a single good pitch the entire season. The Mets are on very shaky ground right now, and if they don't get through the next 5 weeks, like playing like 500 ball, I don't know. I think the wheels could fall off this thing very, very quickly.
Yeah, and one thing to AK's point that he talked about earlier, where he said they came off a sweep of the Phillies. That's another team that I was down on too, and that's why I played the Marlins plus 4,800 to win the NL East, because I felt like the Marlins had probably the best rotation in the division outside of the Braves, and now the Braves kind of like they're just absolutely hurt in their rotation. We don't even know if Fried and Kyle Wright, we don't know how they're going to come back or if they are going to come back. And the NL East is just like, it was a division where a lot of people thought coming into the year was like Braves, Mets, Phillies, they might all three make the playoffs. I think for sure we might get two teams to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Marlins and the Braves. I don't know about those other two teams though.
Here's the only problem with the Marlins, and you're talking to a fish fanatic. I'm like addicted to betting on the Marlins. The Marlins are 16-4 in one-run games.
Yep.
They have a negative 54 run differential. Their ace is a shell of himself. I mean, yeah, they currently hold a wild card spot. I don't know if any of this is sustainable. I love Skip Shoemaker. I love what he's done in that manager position, especially over who was the manager last year? Oh my God, I'm blanking.
Mattingly.
Yep,
Yeah.
Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly, who just was like completely inept. Like the Marlins bullpen has been great this year. It's been really well managed. Andrew Nardi has a sub-3 ERA, leads the league in games pitched. AJ Puk has been great. But 16-4 in one-run games, like you're gonna lose a few extra games. That's why it makes it so hard for me to back the Marlins when I realize that they've overperformed so much.
Kind of, but their offense is actually getting going. And Luis Ariz he's going to flirt with 400 this year, which is
Solar's hitting the ball as well. But Tanner, I'm so glad you're on here and you're going against Jordan with the Marlins, because I've been saying this for weeks, if not months now. If you could see our group text, it's Jordan all over the Marlins. But I agree, man. The Marlins are going to find ways to start losing one-run games now. You can't sustain a 16-4 record on one-run games for 162 games. So it will not happen.
It pains me to say this because half of my Twitter following is because I started betting the Marlins every single day 2 years ago, and I haven't stopped. I've built up like half my online personality is just backing the Marlins. I won. You have no idea how much money I won on Sandy Alcantara last year to win the Cy Young. I had like 5 different tickets on him from like 40 to 1 to 20 to 1. But as much as I want to let my fish fanatic lenses blind me, I cannot overlook a minus 54 run differential for a 29 and 28 team. It's right in your face. I don't know. I hope they keep winning, but I don't know.
It's not pretty, but man, that rotation is even if Sandy's not that great, I mean, you still got Edward Cabrera pitched a gem tonight. Yuri's nice. Braxton Garrett, I love that kid, dude. He's got stuff. Jesus Luzardo, he has electric stuff. He just got to learn how to pitch. Second, he learns how to actually pitch, he's a Cy Young candidate. Because he is.
Yuri pitches tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a.
And by the way, that's an angle everyone who's listening can look at. Yuri strikeouts tomorrow. Cabrera had, I think, 11 tonight. Yuri has better stuff.
Yep. And he's 6'7", so when that ball's coming at you, whoo!
Yeah. Extension, triple-digit fastball, and plus secondary stuff. My God.
Yeah.
It's going to be good for a long time.
I do have to plug this while we have the opportunity, Jordan, that going back to the point about the group text, I was all over the Padres 2 nights ago.
I talked him
this
off.
Man, our lovely host,
Padres.
talked me off of the ledge. And, they came out, and I think it was 0-0, maybe through 3 innings. And, Jordan's like, man, I was all over this. And then it just fell apart there in the 4th or 5th inning. And I'm texting Jordan. I was like, I cannot believe you talked me off the Padres today. And they ended up winning 10-1. So,
yeah, I talked myself off the Padres that night too.
Yeah, Musgrove was due for a game. He was due. It was coming.
Bro, fading Musgrove has won me so much money in the past 2 years, though. Like, that guy cannot pitch 3 times through the order. So if if you get him through the third time through, you're getting some runs. The Marlins just, I don't know. I think they were coming off that high of winning that walk-off game the night before. And like I said, Luzardo, he was, AK, the first 2 times through the order, he was like 6 Ks. Like, they couldn't even hit him. And then all of a sudden, he just like worked himself into trouble, man. It was nasty. Anyways, let's talk about those Padres right now. Cubs versus the Padres tomorrow. We got Drew Smyly on the hill for the Chicago Cubs. He's 5-2 with a 3.45 ERA, going against Yu Darvish, who's 3-4 with a 4.61 ERA and a 1.2 WHIP. Right now, I'm seeing Padres around -170, -175. Cubs +145. Totals at 7.5. Juice to the over, -115. What do you guys think about this one?
You know, it feels like the Padres came into the night with some momentum. Came off a 10-game, road trip there. They played pretty well. It feels like their offense is finally starting to hit the ball better. Then we come into the night and see what's happening tonight. They're down 2-1 in the 7th, but it does feel like they're on an
I told
right
you
now.
after they scored all those runs, I was like, watch, next game they're only going to score 1 or 2, dude.
He did say that. And, but Juan Soto seems to be the guy we expect him to be again. And something that's kind of going unnoticed is the acquisition of Gary Sanchez. He's actually played well in his first 4 starts. The Cubs are a team that I've openly on this show week in and week out have said I've not been able to figure out. They started off hot, but then you look at the team, they've won 12 out of their last 36 games. You feel like at some point that lineup, I know they're getting healthy, but you got Swanson, Wisdom, Happ, Suzuki. Feels like they need to be hitting the ball. And and going back to the Padres, when I say all those things about them being an uptick, we're still talking about a team that lost 9 out of 10 games last month. So not in a rush to back the Padres after I was higher on them than probably most people when they were kind of on that downswing. And then I think I go 0-3 backing them. So I'm glad Jordan talked me off the one yesterday until they went 10-1. So
He's never going to let me live that down, dude, all season.
But yeah, it looks like they're struggling a little bit tonight. Low scoring game, 2-1 on the Cubs at the time of film, and it's the top of the 7th. So
that low scoring game, that's what I want to talk about. Smiley rearranged his pitch mix this year. Yeah, upped the use of his curveball and his sinker. He throws those 2 pitches 90% of the time now. Results: vastly improved strikeout minus walk rate, vastly improved batted ball profile. That's how you get to an expected ERA under 3. He's coming off the worst start of his year so far, but the Padres offense is right now nothing special. 92 WRC against Southpaws over the last month. There are also 5 lefties in the regular 9-man lineup, so I'm not sure they profile well against a lefty like Smiley. Flip side, what to make of Yu Darvish? His stuff plus numbers, his underlying metrics, those look really good. His peripherals are fine. His walks are a little high, but his strand rate is really low. So you'd think that he'd have some sort of regression to the mean. I like how he's throwing his new sweeper. He developed a new slider, the sweeper that's been taking the MLB world by storm. He developed one of those.
It's called a slurve,
that's
Tanner.
this year. -5 run value. His old slider's been getting slugged. Darvish also puts the Cubs in their lesser split. The Cubs don't hit well against right-handed pitching. They're great against lefties, but they're bad against righties. You throw in a couple of, I would say, above-average bullpens and a pretty good defenses when they're playing at their best. Fun fact, Xander Bogaerts leads all of Major League Baseball in outs above average this year. Xander Bogaerts, that guy who had no range in Boston.
Interesting.
Depending on the bullpen usage from tonight, which I have not looked at yet, I like the under.
Right now, the Padres have thrown Cosgrove and Wilson. The Cubs have thrown Hughes. But keep in mind, the Padres did, they didn't have a day off after the Fish series. They obviously didn't have to throw a lot of their bullpen on Thursday, but they haven't had a day off in 14 days.
That's why I wanted to. I don't want to come in here and say it's a lock. I actually wanted to look into this bullpen usage, but just between the starting pitcher, it might be a first 500 thing. I also have to look into the weather.
I also think -175, $1.75. I think that's too much backing you.
I'd lead Cubs at the plus money number for sure. For sure, Cubs the plus money number. I don't know if I'd actually bet that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll get to the window with this, but because I do agree with you. The Cubs against right-handed pitching, they are 99 WRC plus 150 ISO, which is not that great. And then against left-handed pitching, the Padres 105 WRC plus 184 ISO, so much better. 23% K rate though. And that's why that's kind of what made me talk AK off the Padres the other night. Cause I was like, well, Jesus Luzardo is a high K rate pitcher. Padres swing and miss a lot at left-handed pitching. Like, I don't know if that's like a great bet there, but it's so tough for me to back the Padres right now because you have to pay a tax because of the lineup that they have. So like $1.75 with Darvish the way he's pitching, like I don't know, I can't do it. I don't know.
I don't know about the Cubs. I just hate fading the Padres. The Padres are a tough team. They're a tough team to figure out. I don't understand why they're playing so badly. I don't know why Manny Machado can't hit anything. But I don't want to back. I don't know. You don't want to fade them. I don't know. It's terrible team.
And to your point, Tanner, I feel like the Cubs have been a hard team to figure out as well this year. But hey, we come on the show all the time and talk about if you like the underdog, you want to get the extra at bat with the away team. If you're a little juice tolerant, one of the most popular rec books out there have plus 1.5 at about minus 138 right now. So if you're thinking about backing the Cubs and you're, open to laying a little juice, you can get the extra at bat and start off up 1-0 to start the game. So that's a way to look at this game too, if you're leaning Cubs.
I like that. I also think the over might be a good play here too. Surprisingly. Because 7.5 is low.
I still like the under. But, depending on bullpen. I can see your argument. It's under or nothing for me.
Yeah,
under and Cubs are nothing.
Yeah.
I always say and Tanner, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm not a big totals guy at all. But I always say numbers are low for a reason when it comes to totals. So.
Yeah, just like Framber Valdez versus Shohei, and I told you, AK, I was like, I guarantee that game's going over.
That you were all over that, man, all over it. And if people haven't figured out yet, Astros destroy him.
Yep, they
every time.
Shohei. I honestly thought the Angels were going to get to Framber too, though, and they had bases loaded like twice and didn't even get a run out of it.
Yeah, they stranded so many runners, and then I think Renfroe almost had a home run, but it got lodged in the.
Yeah. Fun fact here, Tanner.
So that was another thing.
Tanner, fun fact: Mike Trout is hitting 205 with runners in position this year.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Speaking of runners in scoring position, have you guys looked at the Padres numbers with runners in scoring position?
Oh, they were like the worst in the month of May.
They're hitting 200 with runners in scoring position.
It would be like the first team ever
in MLB history has hit less than 200 with runners in scoring position. They're on track to be the worst team ever.
You know why?
So
is because
go ahead, Jordan. I apologize.
I was gonna say the only reason why is because the top of their lineup gets on base, and then they got like Trent Grisham that comes up and just swings and misses at everything.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Maybe about 3 weeks ago, me and Jordan were both on the Padres on a Thursday day game. They're playing the Twins. They basically controlled the game throughout the whole game. And then they go down. I can't remember exactly what happens. Anyways, they're up like 2-0 the whole game. They go down 3-2. They get up there, get bases loaded, 2 outs. Trent Grisham just gets up there and he's like he's freaking a year late swinging the bat. And me and Jordan were texting each other and some other buddies of ours that were on the Padres too. And it was like we were watching a AA guy, trying to hit a ball in the majors. It was so frustrating.
He can only hit in the playoffs, dude. It's the only time he can hit. Surprisingly, that's how it goes. He's like the Miami Heat of baseball. All right, let's move into our last game. We're gonna go roundtable with. We got the Dodgers against the Yankees. We got Garrett Cole on the mound, 6-0 record, 2.93 ERA, 1.14 WHIP, going against Michael Grove, who's 0-1 with an 8.44 ERA. 1.75 WHIP. So, I mean, automatically, it's like, dude, you got to take the Yankees, right? Yankees minus 130 on the money line. Totals 8.5. Dodgers plus 110. Totals juiced to the over minus 120. AK, you're the Yankees fan. Tell us about this one.
So I won't go into this too much because I'll save it for my best bet at the end of the evening. But I'll just say this. You know what I love to fade, especially on Saturdays, and you know who I love to fade coming back from the IL. So I'll go more into that later, and because I'd love to hear what you guys think about it as well.
Oh, who do you like to fade off the IL?
Pitchers.
Yeah, but I mean, Michael Grove he ain't nothing special anyways.
Well,
let's talk about Garrett Cole. Let's talk about
let's do
why Garrett Cole might look a tad shaky this season. Let's talk about why his expected ERA is close to 4. It'd be one of the highest of his career.
Yep.
His strikeout minus walk rate is down 10% year over year. He's never posted less than 20%. It's at like 17. He's lost a tad bit of velocity on his fastball. His secondaries have been just okay. Meanwhile, these are 2 of the top, 10, even top 5 offenses in baseball, especially with the Yankees getting healthy. I might look over here.
Yeah. The other thing too with Garrett Cole, and this goes unnoticed a lot, is the fact that the second the Yankees started getting caught with sticky stuff is when his performances started to decline. And this is now 2 years in a row of it, right? Because he's been, widely considered the guy that uses sticky stuff more than anybody. And the second Domingo Germán got caught with the sticky stuff and got ejected, Garrett Cole's next 3 starts. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm pulling it up right now. Next 3 starts. Domingo Germán got caught with the sticky stuff against Toronto, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Next 3 starts. 0 earned, 5 earned, 5 earned.
That is, yeah.
It's not just a coincidence.
His numbers this year though look like particularly more worrisome than they did even last year. I don't know. Right now, I've never been more worried about, and I'm a Sox fan at heart, so I don't care. I've never been more worried about Garrett Cole than I have been right now.
Why is that?
His strikeouts are down. His fastball velocity is down. His whiff rates are down. And his walks are up. He's losing command of the strike zone. He's losing stuff on his pitch. He's stranded 80% of runners this year, which is going to come down. He's overperforming his metrics. His home run fly ball rate is even down. There's nothing in his underlying statistical profile that gives me any confidence that this guy is performing to his current sub-3 ERA profile. He just doesn't feel like the Garrett Cole that we know and love, air quotes.
I've never loved Garrett Cole.
You know what I mean? He doesn't feel like the Cole that we know of the past. To me, he doesn't feel like a true Cy Young candidate. He feels like a top tier number 2 starter. And he could prove me wrong. He could go over the next month and throw, 28 straight innings of perfect ball. But right now, I don't believe that happening in the least.
I agree. And the Dodgers also rake right-handed pitching. 116 WRC plus against righties. With a 211 ISO. Oh man.
The Dodgers are amazing, man. How they year in and year out, no matter who they lose, no matter who the roster turnover is, there was an article on Fangraphs, I think it was yesterday. Title was Freddie Freeman is a metronome. That's how I feel about the Dodgers offense. It's just clockwork, in and out, 130 WRC plus year in and year out. And this year, their outfield, from an offensive standpoint, has been one of the best in baseball. As you said, they crush right-handed pitching again. They're great at home. It's wild to watch them year in and year out.
The biggest difference about the Dodgers from years past is their bullpen is atrocious. But that has a lot to do with injuries.
It's been hurt. The whole pitching staff has been hurt. If they get healthy, it could be. Who knows?
Well, that's it.
How about James Martinez?
Oh yeah.
JD Martinez is having like a career year.
Resurgence. It's funny you bring that up though, Tanner, because I was looking at the futures market before we came on, and the Dodgers are currently the betting favorite to win the World Series.
No way, really?
Yeah. FanDuel plus 470, DraftKings plus 500, BetMGM plus 500. I mean, they're right up there. The Braves are right behind them. Tampa Bay right behind them, and then Houston right behind them, and then everyone else is like 12-1 or longer.
Hey, Jordan, get the brooms out. The Diamondbacks just finished it off. Sweep.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, Atlanta's another team. Like, I don't know if I could bet them in the futures market to win the World Series because their rotation is just thrashed with injuries, dude.
They're still the best team in baseball, in my opinion.
Yeah, but why? I mean, yeah, their lineup maybe, but I mean, Tanner, their bullpen is like not nearly as good as it was. 16th in ERA 404, 408 xFIP. I mean, they rake, but it's hard to get there right now. Plus, they got to play the Marlins. I mean, like, it's
the hard-hitting, dangerous Marlins.
Hey, Jesus Sanchez coming around, man. Less strikeouts this year. No, I don't know, like, because when it comes to the playoffs, you got to have starting pitching, you got to have a bullpen. And I feel like both the Dodgers right now, obviously the Dodgers bullpen is going to get healthy at some point, but the Braves, like, their bullpen is just not good, you know? And I don't know, and their rotation is banged up, and I don't even know if we're going to see Fried or Kyle Wright pitch again. And Spencer Strider, as nice as he is, like, every time I see that guy pitch, like, everyone's like, oh, man, this guy is, like, a pitcher of our generation. Bro, every time I see this guy pitch, he's giving up 3 or 4 runs, dude. Like, yeah, he's got great strikeouts.
Strider is a complicated character because he probably has he's the best fastball that I've maybe ever seen. Like, the stuff plus metrics on his fastball are.
Did you ever watch Randy Johnson pitch?
Yeah, I know. Well, let's say over the last 10 years, the stuff plus metrics on Strider's fastball are unprecedented.
Yeah, it's
the problem is he has 3 pitches. And so, like, my buddy, he's a Braves fan the other day, he texted me up and he goes, I think Strider shouldn't start anymore. I think he should just be a closer, the best closer that ever played with a 3-pitch mix, right? Because he profiles that way. Which I guess makes sense, but why would you take out, a top-tier starter is always more valuable than a back-end bullpen piece, right? So why would you take him out of that role? And I think that, while he's given up some runs over the last little bit, I think his BABIP is also a little high, so I think that could regress. I don't know. Strider is a whole different can of worms, but I do agree that there are major problems in the Braves rotation.
So,
and as great as Strider's been, there's no way the Braves should be laying minus 215 on the road against the Diamondbacks tomorrow. I don't care who's pitching. I'm not getting involved in it, but it just seems high.
That's facts. One other thing too that I want to throw your guys' way. Okay, so 2016, 2017, we saw Andrew Miller go to the then Indians, and Terry Francona used him as like this like bridge from the starter to the bullpen, right? And like Andrew Miller pitched multiple innings of like high leverage relief baseball, right? And I thought that was like the future. Like, I thought that was like the next big thing was like, we're going to get these starters that have like electric 3-pitch pitches, but like they can't go 2 or 3 times through an order, right? So we're going to use them in these high leverage spots for multiple innings. But like after Andrew Miller, we haven't really seen that. And I feel like, to your point of Spencer Strider, like he should be a closer. Like, I think that is his perfect like role, is like that high leverage reliever guy that's going to give you 2-3 innings, maybe not go through a lineup 2 or 3 times. Like, why don't we see that more in the game?
I have no idea. I feel like, well, I don't know. I mean, like
I should run a baseball team.
The Rays kind of started to try and do it right with the opener.
Yeah.
You throw in an opener, he goes an inning and a half or 2 innings, and then you get a second pitcher guy who goes twice through the order, right? And then you try to hand it off to your bullpen. I don't know outside of that. The weird thing about Strider though is that if you look into his split numbers, he's great the first time through the order. He slacks a little bit the second time through the order, but he's lights out the third time through the order. It's one of the strangest things I've ever seen. His numbers rebound when he comes to the third time through the order. So again, he's like a problem that I can't figure out how to solve because the guy is lights out if you put him in like the 7th or 8th inning.
Who's pitching for the D-backs tomorrow, AK?
Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have fun betting the Diamondbacks on that one.
Oh, like I said, I'm not going to be doing it, and I'll tell you right now, I won't. But I still don't think they should be laying 215 on the road to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane.
What about the over? Bet the over.
Yeah, 8.5, man. That's definitely a play in itself as well.
Yep, I agree. Actually, I really like 2 bets from games we talked about tonight. So with that being said,
Let's go, y'all.
Let's get our best bets. Tanner, let's start out with you since you're the guest. Give me your best bets for tomorrow.
Should I go with both of mine?
Yeah. Lay them out, baby.
I got 2. I'll make sure I have the exact numbers up on them. The first one, I love the Washington Nationals tomorrow at home against the Phillies. I think it's Dylan Covey starting. Covey? I'm not 100% sure if someone can double check that for me.
No, you've got Gore tomorrow for Washington.
No, for the Phillies. I know it's Gore.
It's strong.
I'm seeing TBD.
Anyways, I love the Nationals here. The Nationals have been raking over the last month or so. Even if it is strong as an opener, I thought it was Covey, but Nationals have the second best WRC plus against right-handed pitching in May. Only other team with an OPS over 800 during that time is the Blue Jays. This Nationals offense can hit. Lane Thomas and Joey Meneses, I love them. On the flip side, you get Mackenzie Gore, stud that I've been backing all year. Sub-4 ERA, plus 116, stuff plus on the fastball. Big thing about Gore is his release point. If he has a consistent release point, he's usually a pretty consistent pitcher. And I think it's been pretty good this year from what I've seen from Savant stuff. Just went 7 innings, 1 run, 11 strikeouts against the Royals last time out, and he'll be taking on the Phillies. The Phillies are a bottom 5 offense against Southpaws this year. Have been over the last month. They've been worse than the Royals. I would look for either Nationals first 5. I'd probably look at the Nationals first 5 first because the Phillies do have a bullpen advantage, but I like both at plus money just because I think that Gore can absolutely shut down this lineup, and I think the Nationals lineup.
You mean Hunter Harvey doesn't give you a bullpen edge?
Sorry?
You mean Hunter Henry doesn't give you a bullpen edge? Bro,
the Nationals bullpen is bad.
Hunter Harvey's cost me so much coin this year, dude. I would punt that dude to Jupiter if I ever seen him.
Yeah. Either way, I adore the Nats in this spot. First 5 over full game money line. Second one, I think that the Mariners are starting Marco Gonzalez. Am I right about that?
Let me see.
No, I think it's Wu.
Yeah, I'm seeing a Wu.
Yeah, Gonzalez is still, his arm's still a little tweaked right there, little injury.
I actually don't even see it on the board. It's off.
Yeah, I've got it right here. Gonzalez stayed in Seattle. He didn't make the trip.
Interesting. Against Heaney.
Yep.
I would still take the Rangers, even though I know that's what you're going to do, Tanner, because the Mariners can't hit lefties.
Yeah.
Well, they actually can't hit anything.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The Mariners can't hit lefties. I like Andrew Heaney. He's been pretty solid. And of course, the Rangers, they've been raking as an offense.
They hit anything. Lefty, righty, ambidextrous.
Yeah, exactly. I'd probably also look towards Rangers first 5 because I don't want to get involved in that bullpen matchup. But Yeah, those are my two. Nationals versus 5, Rangers versus 5.
Nice.
From what I'm seeing on Brandon Wu, he's 3-2 in Double-A this year, 2.33 ERA, 32 strikeouts, 8 walks over 27 innings, and 5 stars in Double-A.
Oh, so the Mariners were like, we had some good production from Bryce Miller out of Double-A. We're just gonna bring up another Double-A pitcher. What about all these
That's
guys
exactly
in
right.
Triple-A? Oh, you gotta love it.
Is a righty, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Texas rakes righty. Texas rakes everything.
Texas ranks everything. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
All right, AK, what's your best
know,
bets?
Well, to Tanner's point with Texas, me and Jordan talked about this last night when we were kind of breaking down this Rangers game. Rangers are on pace to have one of the most prolific offenses ever.
Yep.
I mean, so they're on it. I've got one best bet for the show tonight. Say what you want to about Garrett Cole, say what you want to about the Yankees, here we go. Yankees get pummeled tonight, which I was so glad that they did. We got Rizzo coming back, got Stanton back tonight, Donaldson, both of them hit home runs. I know Freeman, I know JD has been hot as hot can be, but so is Aaron Judge. I don't have to say much about Cole. You guys kind of knocked that out of the park, but he's still Garrett Cole. He's still got a 1.14 whip, 79 Ks, only 26 walks to most guys. That's pretty good. He didn't have to go further than 6 innings in any of his starts last month. I think we're going to get a max effort from the Yankees and what will be like a World Series type game to them after getting pummeled tonight. So if anybody's a fan of the show, I love fading pitchers on their first start back from the IL. So my best bet, Yankees can get that about -130 across all books right now.
Okay, Yankees losing on Lou Gehrig Day, dude. That's total disrespect. That's terrible. Punt the Yankees
I will say, Jordan, this isn't a best bet, but I do have a lean that we didn't get the chance to talk to tonight, but I do lean to the Reds tomorrow as well.
The Reds?
Yep, but best bet, Yankees -130.
What's the Reds at right now?
Across most books, let me make sure it didn't change. Across most books, you can get the Reds tomorrow. It's kind of all over the place. Yeah.
What is it? Plus what?
It's around +105 at most books, Jordan.
All right. So my best bet, I got 2 of them, which is from games we talked about. I really like the Jays money line tomorrow, -110. Pick them. I just think the Jays in that spot are undervalued. I know they won tonight 3-0. I don't expect the Mets to be shut out again, but like I said, I'm not very high on this Mets team. I don't think they're very good, and I do have a future on the Jays to win the World Series, so that's what I think about them. And then I also like that over 8.5 Dodgers Yankees. I definitely think that game's going to go over. Michael Grove is not very good. As Aaron alluded to, the Yankees, they got Judge, not Judge. They got Stanton back. They got Rizzo hitting the home runs. Donaldson back. I think both offenses are going to have a field day tomorrow. I like that over 8.5. I actually like that a lot. That might be my favorite bet of them all. But I also like the Jays as well. I'm playing both of them. I'm getting to the window with both of those. Is what I'm saying.
Love that over.
Yes, let's go. All right, Tanner, we want to thank you for joining us one more time. Make sure to follow Tanner on Twitter at Tanner's Truth, TANNERS Truth, TRUTH, if you don't know how to spell. Action Network, go download the app, use it to track your bets. He writes. Do you do podcasts on there too, Tanner, or just write?
Yeah, the Payoff Pitch podcast.
The Payoff
comes out a couple times a week. Yep.
You do it solo?
No. 3 or 4 rotating guys.
Okay. So Payoff Pitch podcast. He writes for Action basically every day. Tanner's Truth at Twitter. Make sure to follow him. He's a friendly fish over here, so we like friendly fish. Make sure to follow Aaron Kidd at AK Sports 90 on Twitter. Make sure to follow myself at Jordan Rules TSP. Hopefully we get to the window. We get all these winners here. Just to recap, Tanner has Nats moneyline first 5, Texas moneyline first 5. AK has the Yankees -130 for some bizarre reason. No, I'm just joking, AK. I got Jays money line -110, and then Yankees Dodgers over 8.5. So let's get to the window. Let's get these cash these tickets, man. Let's get these winners. We'll see y'all later. See y'all Sunday. You guys have a blessed weekend. We appreciate y'all. Thank you one more time. We'll see y'all later. Peace.